My name is Tim Johnson. We were nominated and approved for the 2016 Tree Farm of the Year. The house behind me is the house that my brother and I grew up in. We inherited it from my father, who died about 12 years ago. We have a limited partnership with my brother and I as general partners, and the 6 grandchildren, 3 his and 3 mine, as a undivided interest in this farm. We try to manage the farm as best stewards as we can, with the forestry program being part of it, agriculture, hunt club, and that's been our objective and goal and modus operandi for certainly the last 12 years. The farm, the historical center is in a land behind us that goes back to 1780. Over the years, the family gradually moved up the hill to this location. It's a slight slope, and built houses along the way. And this is the last house. This house was built in 1918, so it's 100 years old this year. But the farm itself goes back to 1780, and it's been in the blood, which is, I guess, kind of a special hook for me anyway, and I think the others in the partnership. And we're trying to figure a succession plan to make that stay in the blood. Because the farm grew into a fairly sizable population of people, some of the families were quite large, and there were several families here. My grandfather put in a small store that he had been encouraged to do by a cousin who was also in a pretty sizable farmer. His store was so successful that he enlarged it, doubled it the next year, and the next year he built the store that I'm facing. It was a hub for a lot of activity, sort of a local, almost like a Walmart, because we sold all kinds of stuff in there, and it was quite active here. Some of the sites that were special to us as children were a sliding rock that we went to twice a day to swim in the creek and slide down. It's kind of special. There are graveyards on the farm that are unmarked. We don't know for sure who's buried in them. Although the farm is not open to the public, we are on the National Register. We are also a Harnett County historical site. Those two designations have been given to us, and there's recognition for those. But it's not open to the public per se. But because we do want to have a good community presence, we got the hunt club, and those are mostly local people. State College, through Henry and his organization, have allowed State College to bring classes down to see what we're doing on several occasions. The Boy Scouts have been here for probably 50 years. They have a designated site on the farm that they have built a permanent hut where they meet, and they are welcome here, and they seem to enjoy and appreciate us letting them do that. Before my father died, he died the night before he was to turn 96. And he was very active until the end, but much slower. And he had set the program in the farm to do lease agriculture. He had done hunt club gratis. We decided to make the hunt club on a lease basis, which got the job done and gave a little bit of income. And we decided, before he died, and he agreed to it, to upgrade the forestry program into what I call modern forestry. And we engaged Henry Randolph out of Lillington to help us get that started. And we are moving that program as fast as we can into what I call modern forestry. Most genetically improved, best site prep, area release. Those things are sort of self-running. It just takes somebody to make sure that the contracts and payments are made. We are doing it in management blocks. We didn't clear cut the whole farm. We did it management blocks and put it back into a superior genetics, site prep, do area release, and gradually we'll hopefully bring in all the forest lands into the best management practices for forestry. What I do is an area release. Use a helicopter. You come over to a stand of pines that have gotten some of the hardwoods that come back. You can't kill them all. The area release is always by helicopter on this farm. There may be other ways, but this farm is helicopter. And they can nail down that spray line. It's just amazing. And for loblollies, they can use a chemical that doesn't hurt the pine. Longleaf is a little bit different story, so they have to do something else, but that's not our story here. And they spray above the canopy, it drifts down into the understory and kills the competition, the so-called deciduous is what we're really after. We will thin this, a commercial thinning in about 3 years. We'll take out what we can and for money, and that will open up the canopy again. We'll leave the super alpha to continue to grow, and we will do a final cut. I suspect one more cut will be the final cut in probably 22 to 25 years. Well, we like to have quail back. And if you're quiet on some evenings, you do hear a few calls, but they are very, very scarce. And one of the contract tenets is no quail hunting. I don't want them to be stressed anymore. Otherwise, the deer are here. They weren't here when I was a child. Beaver have come back. They weren't here when I was a child. So the wildlife actually has, the species numbers have gone up. The quail are the real stressed ones. I have never seen a coyote, but I understand they're here. I've never seen a bobcat, but I understand they're here. But we don't, I take the attitude it's their home too. And so they have a right to be here, and I don't disturb them unless they become destructive. My attitude toward wildlife and habitat improvement is, if it's natural, probably is the way this area evolved with the wildlife and the forbs and flora. They probably have a pretty good match already. I could bring in prairie grasses and shrub lespedeza, but that is, and we have done that, but not on a very extensive level. The timber has become more and more part of the farm economy, and not only is it the economics, but all that goes with it, the wildlife and the water quality and the beauty, and certainly that is a strong point. And the archaeological sites that are scattered in, we have to be careful to protect those in our logging and our planting decisions. But that has become a source of pride as well. It might have had to come in more and more a source of pride, because the old school of cutting the best, leaving the rest is the way most farmers in years past did it. And the farmers, the forest land had become sort of inferior. It is no longer inferior, and we want to make sure it gets even better as fast as we can. We have had, even before Tree Farm got involved, a special stewardship issue with archaeology, water quality, wildlife, the whole nine, every spectrum that's on the Tree Farm program. And when we came together, it was like just, where have you been so long? Because we think the same way. We've really shared and sort of learned from each other. I would think